Yes, it is Wednesday night once again. This is Open Talk with Bishop Mark Kariuki. And I just want you to know that Open Talk is a moment, is a time when we just open up our hearts and talk to one another. You talk or I talk or we hear one another, and we become better. The aim of this show is educative. It is to bring in information. It's to bring in a correction. It's to bring in openness in our discussions, and to let you know that everybody has their own story. Everybody there has their own story. Our foundation is the Word of God. So whatever we do here is founded on the Word of God. And I pray that even tonight, you would receive our discussion with an open mind, an open heart, and that the Lord will minister to you. Maybe you could be going through some situations, and you never know how God speaks. He speaks in different ways, and He knows you by your name, and He knows exactly where you are. It is our tradition to welcome, to host guests here, men and women of God who have walked with God, and people who fear the Lord, and people who we know will be a blessing to you and building to you. So I want to welcome you tonight in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. My juice, my carrot cake, my zucchini carrot cake says jumbo to you. And she will be coming. This coming week, she will be in the program. I know you have missed her for some time now, but she is coming full throttle. She's coming full throttle. Thank you so very much. But tonight we have a guest, a friend of ours, a pastor, a minister of the gospel. Welcome. This is Pastor Chris Chege. Pastor Chris Chege. We want to say jumbo to the saints or to the viewers.
Yes, Bishop. May I first by start saying thank you so much for having me in Open Talk. You are a father to our nation, and me and my family, we love you and we honor you. I greet you all, our viewers today. As you are watching, we believe that your life will never be the same again.
Thank you so very much. You know, if there is anything good that makes a man feel good,
yes,
is to hear those words, you are loved.
Yes.
Those words.
We love you, Bishop.
You hear those words, you feel, oh, good. Because you see, outside there, when you go outside, there are battles coming from every corner.
That's right.
Battles, criticism.
Yes.
Others wanted to pull you down. Others want to tear you down. But when you hear somebody say, you are loved,
yes,
we value you,
yes,
that builds you up.
Yes.
In fact, it makes me a week younger. Every time I hear it, I become one week younger.
Yes.
And I want to welcome you to this show.
Yes.
We've been running this show for some time now, and our desire is to bring information to the viewer, to be a blessing to the viewer, and to let the viewer know that some of the things that are going through are not actually all the things that someone is going through, they are normal.
Yes.
And to let the viewer know that what you are going through, you are not the first one.
Yes.
And you are not the last one. Others will go through them, and others have gone through them. So you don't give up wherever you are. Now, I'll just give you a small write-up to introduce Pastor Chris, and then I will let him actually add whatever else that he does. First of all, I think you need to know that Pastor Chris is married to Pastor Joanne.
That's right.
Good. That is settled once and for all. Okay. Pastor Chris Chege is the pastor of Fresh Fire Kingdom Ministries, together with his wife Joanne. Fresh Fire Kingdom
Church.
Yes. Wow. That's the fire. There is fire, and that fire is fresh.
Amen.
And then they teach on the kingdom. What else are you looking for? Kweli kabisa. What else are you looking for? If you want fresh fire, it is there. You want the fire, is there. You want the kingdom, it is there. And you know, Jesus taught us to say, when you pray, say, your kingdom come, your will be done here on earth. So, okay, Pastor Chris and his wife were pastors at JCC London before moving back to Kenya. Well, this is not the London of Nakuru. This is the London original.
It's the London of United Kingdom.
The London of the UK.
Yes.
Okay. They are blessed with 4 children, and they are with us. They are with us today as we look at the transformative power of the blood of Jesus. because you will come to discover, and I trust that Pastor Chris will tell us more in details, that Pastor Chris was a former drug addict, an alcoholic, and a robber, but gave his life to Jesus and now is preaching the gospel. He's now preaching the gospel. That is very little about Chris that I can say myself. But since the man is here, why not hear it from the horse's mouth? And today I'm not the horse. Chris is the horse. Yes. So since you are the horse,
yes.
Just introduce yourself.
Yes.
Tell us about yourself.
Yes.
Me, I will sit down. Today is your day. You tell the story.
Thank you once again for having me here. As you have heard, my name is Pastor Chris Chege, Senior Pastor in Fresh Fire Kingdom Church. I am married to one wife, and we have 2 boys and 2 girls, 4 children.
Wow.
And we moved back in Kenya, as you said, 2 years ago. And by the grace of God, we are seeing the hand of God. Yes. And it's good to be here.
Thank you
Yes.
so very much. How old are your kids?
My kids, the firstborn is 13. The secondborn is 9. They are all 4 years gap. And then the next one is 5. And then the next one is 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's always good to know the gap because it helps you in the mathematics.
Yes.
If there's a difficult question that when a man is asked is how old are your children?
Yes.
So you've got to start calculating in your head.
Yes.
But for the ladies, they will tell you 13, 9, 5,
That's right.
2.
Yeah.
Straight away, they will
Yeah.
just say it. For us, we've got to say, okay, 2000. 2000 minus this, minus this, minus this, and then you get the date. Then the worst thing will be when they ask you, and what are their birthdays?
Yes.
You don't want to be asked that question
Yeah.
because it is in the diary. You remember when the day appears. You remember
Yes.
this is the birthday
Yes.
of one of our kids. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, tell us, Pastor Chris. Were you born in London or were you born in the UK or did you travel to the UK? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I was born in Umoja, Eastlands.
This Umoja here?
Yeah, when it was brand new, our house was brand new. Nobody had lived in it.
Wow.
Back then when Umoja was the place to live. And then after a short while, we moved to Buruburu. I was born to a humble family. My father and my mom, they were young when they got me. My mother was actually only 18 years old. And I was born in a family at that time, they did not know the Lord.
Yeah.
So when we moved to Buruburu, then after a little while, when I was about 8 years old, about 7.5, we moved to Kiserian. Then I came to realize that when we moved to Kiserian, it was Mzee's plan because he had some pango wakandos here in Nairobi. So he moved us to Kiserian. And then when we moved to Kiserian, also Kiserian back then in the 80s, it was very new. So there was animals, and I remember we used to go and sleep and burn tire so that the snakes would come out of the house.
Wow.
And we had an Alsatian dog. One day we came in the morning, he had been eaten, he was just bones. There used to be hyenas, you will find leopards, and also some elephants who come to eat things in the shamba.
Here in this Kiserian.
This Kiserian.
You know, there are people watching from Kiserian.
Yes.
And they are thinking those are stories of the giants we used to be told 19 long ago.
No, not at all.
My mother used to call them Nganoshia Marimo.
When I go there now, Bishop, I don't believe it's the same place. He's grown. He has. He's very cosmopolitan.
Yeah.
He used to be like Maasai's and a bit of Kikuyu, and then now it's all. It's very
Everybody is there.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when we moved there at 8 years old, that's when my life changed. I came to realize number 8 is the number of new beginnings.
Yes.
So my life really shifted, and that is when I cooked my first ugali. When we used to throw it on the wall, if it falls, you know it's not ready.
To find out if it is ready.
Yes.
You know, I tried to tell Joyce that's how to check on ready ugali, and she's asking me, but you can smell it. You can smell it. I say the easy thing is to hit it on the wall. If it sticks there, then you know it is not ready.
Yes.
But ugali is normally very good. It doesn't stick.
Yeah.
It just hit the wall and falls off.
Yeah. So at 8, that's when I cooked my first ugali, and I killed my first snake.
Oh.
A very poisonous one, a short one, a puff adder, yellow, black, and red. And the Maasai guy that used to look after our place, he said, "Umeua hii?" And I was just 8. He said, "This is very poisonous." So he told me, you hit the head and the tail, because the snake, if you hit the head, it grows on the tail.
Oh.
Yes, and then that's when I smoked my first cigarette.
Oh, at 8?
At 8.
Wow.
Ile ilikuwa the one that used to be the mohu,
the tobacco,
ashes,
yes,
and
the
they
tobacco you put on
with
a paper.
with the newspaper. Yes,
Then
that
you
was
put some
yes,
saliva
through
in
the Maasai guy. Then I started smoking. You know, like my dad and my mom, they were young. So my mom will come from work. She will go. That time Kiserian was very far. So by the time she will come back, my dad sometimes will come before her or after. And then he will tell her that you are seeing some other men, and you start beating her. So we used to go and come back. You go and come back after she's beaten. But this one time she was beaten, where she was opened, the whole skull. Wow. By a Maasai sword, the one of the walking stick. He opened it and opened her here. And if I didn't hold on to him, he would have killed her. So this time round, my mom was able to run through the shambas at night, and she went to hospital, and she stayed in her sister's place till she recovered a little bit. So she came back, but this time she was on mission that when my father is not there, we were going to run away. So this place where we were living in Kiserian, it was the conditions were not very good. There was always robbery. They would break into the house, take things, and there was no electricity. And I remember water was a problem. And I remember we were being even infected with the jiggers. We were only 2 in our family, me and my sister who is 3 years younger. We were infected with jiggers, and life was not very good. Compared now, you have come from Buruburu, which was back then, it was the place to be. So my mom, there was a wedding. So when my father said he's going ahead because he was participating in some things, my mom said we are coming after. Then she had arranged for a lorry. We took our stuff and went to Kangemi. So when we went to Kangemi, I'm still 8 years old. Then there was another shift in my life. We started life now in the slums of Kangemi.
Wow.
And now this is where life began. You know, you are used to having some comfort and some nice biscuits and Weetabix and all those things. Then life changed, and now we were in the ghetto. Wow. Now my wife, my mother, sorry, she was, I love my wife. I keep on saying everybody. Even when I'm talking to people on the phone, I call them baby, and I forget it's not my wife. So my mother, when we moved to Kiserian, she was a secretary, and that time a secretary was paid 3,000 a month. So all we could afford was 2 rooms, and there was no toilet, so it was self-contained. We had the kitchen, the toilet, the bathroom in there, because there was about 200 houses, and 5 toilets and 5 bathrooms. Wow. So sometimes when you go in the toilet, you don't have somewhere to step on, because there is mountains of feces. And now the bathrooms as well, until when you had a visitor, you'll close one bathroom, wash it for them to use it. But now we will use kasukus at night, and we had something was called flying toilet. I always tell people we had a flying toilet where you use the newspaper and throw it out of the window. It was so 200 people, houses, not houses, slums. We were using 5 bathrooms, and sometimes at 8 years now, I was exposed to some things where an 8-year-old should not be exposed. Because when you went to those toilets, sometimes you find even an aborted child, and so I was exposed to things. I remember we would go in those toilets just to go and look at the woman next door in the toilet. So I started seeing the nakedness of a woman at 8 years. So I'm smoking, and now I always walked with the bigger boys. So the influence there. So when we were in Kangemi, now I was smoking SM, sweet menthol. And then by the time I was reaching 11 years, there was a lady who was our housemaid. She broke my virginity. And from there, Bishop, when I tested it, I always tell people, Colossians 2:21 says, handle not, taste not, touch not. The minute I tested it, all the house girls, the house ladies in the plot, I was chasing them at 11 years.
You are the goat.
I was the goat. I was the he-goat.
Wow.
I was chasing them. I wanted to feel that what I felt when I did it with this first lady. Yes, and so by the time now, living in the ghetto now. My mom is young. She's also she also wants to have fun. She's in her 20s. So when she goes out, also she would have people. She will go out for a drink, and sometimes she might come late. And so now, without a father figure, I was looking at role models, people who are makangas, who are matatu drivers. Those now became my role models, and the thugs and the thieves around the Kangemi. Now I wanted to become like them, and I'll see them with dreadlocks. I wanted to become like them.
Wow.
So because there was the father figure missing, and most of the young people you find that they are going and doing certain things, drugs and thugging and thieving, is because the father, most of them you find that they are single and the father is not there. So they don't have direction, and the role models now become these people. So now by the time I'm reaching about 14 years, we are still in Kangemi, and Kangemi, you know, there was problems of electricity, water, especially when the Nairobi show, all the water will come from Kangemi, Kibera and Kawangware. So that's the first time I saw my mother fighting. And they were fighting because of water. And she was really good. She really beat that woman on the matope because of water.
You were cheering.
I was cheering. I was saying, Mom, you can do it. Ongezea. Yeah. So that was the life now in the ghetto. I remember, you know, especially when Ugandans were having war, people were coming, and I remember houses being broken into, and we'll be looking out, because these houses you can see outside.
Yeah.
In fact, we didn't have even a TV, but the neighbor had a black and white 14-inch. And when I go to school, people are talking about Wild Rose to Shauriane, and I don't want to be left behind. So we had 3 holes. All of us would watch, so that when you go to school, you're up with the status quo, and you're up in updated. So we were living there. By the time now I'm reaching 14, I'm smoking cigarette, and I've been taking glue of shoe to get high, and then now I am doing cannabis at 14.
Wow.
So now, because I am not working and I don't have finances, I have to do something to get money. So now when people will put clothes or shoes on the hanging line, I will still go and sell, and then get money to buy my cigarettes and my bangi, cannabis, and to feed my habit.
Wow. Now let me, you know, I can hear, I used to be a school teacher.
Okay.
And I've listened to your English.
Yes.
And it is good. It is very good. When did you go to school? Where did you go to school? When did you begin school with all these things going on?
I started school in Madaraka Primary School when we were in Kiserian, Nairobi West. So that's where I'll be taken, not counting the pre-unit and the nursery in Buruburu. So when my mom and my dad, when we moved to Kangemi now, my mother, she really worked hard to fix a hot plate and make sure we went to some good schools. So I went to Roresho Primary School. And back then Roresho was also a very good school, because some of the ministers' children, we were with them in the same school. So to be honest, I was not good in school. I think it's when my father walked out, I was distracted. So when I was in class, I would not be thinking of what we are learning. So what I was good in, I was good in PE and football. But English was another subject I was very good at. I used to do even A. Yes, I was good in English. Somehow, I was just good in English. Yes.
Okay. So now you are in Kangemi. You are having these 3 holes in the house to watch somebody's the TV in the next door.
Yes.
And how long did you stay in Kangemi?
We stayed in Kangemi until I went to secondary school. Yes. So we lived there around 8 years. Yes.
Wow. And then you went to secondary school?
And I went to secondary school.
Still in Kangemi?
I didn't go to Kangemi. I was actually called in Kangemi High School, but my mom, because it was called Kajinga High School, it was not the school you want your child to go to. So she took me to Senior Chief Koinange.
Okay.
When I went to Senior Chief Koinange now, because I'm smoking, I'm taking cannabis, and now I've started to drink changa at Form 1 and Toivo, fruit punch, and all that, Mitinidao and Sogam, what you could afford. Yeah. So when I went to Senior Chief, I am 15-year-old at Form 1, but my mind, because of being exposed to things and doing things I should not really be doing, instead of concentrating in school, we would run away at night, go to reggae, in parking, in Uhuru Park, and sometimes you sokota some dreadlocks so you get in free. So those are the things we used to do, go out and get bang and smoke. And then when I reached to Form 2, the first term, they were renovating the school, and there was fluorescent bulbs, there was these Asian toilets and sinks. So we started to take them. There was a man who had a matatu which was doing Isili route. So we used to take them 5 o'clock in the morning and take them to Ngara Market. It was called Nyayo Market then. So one of the days when we were taking this round, we were taking fluorescent tubes, brand new, and we have the market ready. And all this money so that we can go reggae, have mira as well, and have the drink and smoke, bang and cigarettes. So this time around at 5 in the morning, there's 4 of us. So 2 of us are caught because 2 of them used to be very strikers in football. They were able to run. And remember now also because of smoking, I was panting na kuhema hema. So instead of being caught outside, because people have come out, they are saying muizi, 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 we ran into the school. Then we were caught by the security guards. Then
in the school.
In the school, because it was better to be in the hands of, just like David said, it's better to be in the hands of God, So we said it is better to be in the hands of the school rather than because if we were outside and caught, they would have mob justice They would have done mob justice to us. So we were taken to Karori station where we stayed 2 weeks, and before we were called, my father came and got me out. He knew the OCS, got me out. But those 2 weeks we were there, every time they would get busa or anything, they would say, Vijana Ashule, come and take out the busa. And they have the pipes in that, we would drink it. And we didn't care. We didn't know, we didn't have a clue about our purpose or where we are heading to. So we weren't even 2 weeks there. We were just there. So that was the beginning of my being arrested. So I was arrested, that was in Karori. I was arrested in Modangari. I was arrested in Kabete. I was arrested in Pangani. I was always arrested here and there. And my mother would always make sure she gets me out before I'm taken Monday for the court case. So I missed out one time to go in 44 committee. I was going to be given 6 months because of robbing a watch. Yeah. So that time I'm in school. Now it's from 2 second term. I was expelled. And now no school could take me. The principal that time wrote a letter to all the provinces. That time there were provinces. I could not get a school in Nyeri, Rift Valley, anywhere. She has written, and they planted a bang in my desk because I think they wanted to get rid of me because I'd given them a headache. That time, if you were a teacher, you would have not wanted me to be your student. So they wrote letters, and I had to stay home second term, most of the second term Form 2, and third term at home, looking for a school. And then we went to primary school where the headmaster said, I can talk to the headmaster of Kangemi High School. They used to drink together in Kangemi. And then I was told I would be taken on one condition. Every morning I was to go to the headmaster's office. I was given 2 vibocos. So I would go in the morning, and the headmaster would tell me, touch where I normally say, and I'll be given 2. And there is nothing I've done.
Whether you have done anything or not done anything.
That was the condition.
Wow.
So this time of 2 terms, I was outside, no school. I was now in Odero. That's why I lost this tooth. I was selling drugs. Zinaitwa tap. Or in English, ecstasy, matembe. And even now you can find them on the street. They still sell them 10 shillings. They are C, Cosmos. And then there is D5. And then there is MX and M20. MX, if you take it, you're high for 3 months. When you drink tea, it just goes boom, inalipuka. Yeah, and D5, they finish the joints. That's why you see people on the street wanakuja, Bishop, tuachie kakitu. Yeah, they know it finishes the joints. Yeah, and they still take. But it's the highness. You want the highness. Yeah, and Cosmos, I think it was for pneumonia. Yes. So now I was selling it in Odero. The reason they took out this tooth is because in 1993, I was the first one to take drugs, those matembes in ecstasy in Odero. So they were saying, "Hatutaki madawa hapa." They will be chasing me away. So this time now I go back to school, but this is what I used to do, sell drugs. And then I was matatu, where they say, "Beba, beba, beba, beba." Yes, before now the driver is in the restaurant also having some changa before he comes now to take the people to town. So in Odero, that's why I learned how to, that's why I used to do matatu tout, and then that's why I knew how to drive. Because I would be doing beba beba wawili hapo. So that's why I knew how to drive.
Wow.
Yes. So now I go to Kangemi High School on condition I'll be beaten every morning. By the grace of God, I was able to reach Form 4, and I was able to register for Form 4 in the first term. And then I never went to school again. I just went to do my exams. But now in 93 and 94, there is something they call a principality. You find a family where people die at a certain age. So in my father's house, the people that are called Chege, they used to die at 16 and 17. And now at 16, I am caught stealing. And I was stealing from somewhere they drink changa. And now I knew where they are putting their money. So we robbed it with a friend of mine that was called Addict. So when they came to take out the change, they find the money is not there. And we are there with other two people, customers. So wacheni kutupiga, please go and check properly before you beat us. And some of the people, because people in the ghetto, they are idle, so they had brought the tire, they had brought the mafuta, the petrol, they wanted to set us ablaze. And then when they checked that, and still some people wanted to go ahead and say, these are the people wanatusumbua sumbua huku kwa mapeloti. And so they wanted to say, I remember this guy called Moffat came and said, leave these kids, we know them. I know them, leave them. And I never saw Moffat again after that. But he stopped that, and I believe it is because of purpose. I was not banned. So in 94, the same thing happened. And 94, now the devil had made sure he was to take me out. Because 16, he didn't take me out. 17, now he comes, he wants to take me out. So this year was the year I did things until at some stage I was wanted in Nairobi. So I'm caught again stealing. One of the politicians, I won't mention names, he had some matatus, and there were many. So he had brought his people from Kisii. And now we were saying, "Awa ni mafala si watu wa base yetu." So that's how we used to go when they have the pocket here, and we go and take it at 11 o'clock when they are going to finish. So this time I will take even 98 tablets. So, you know, I'm even if you 98 tablets. And you know, there is a policy of a drug addict or a drug peddler. They say never get high on your own supply. So I was getting on my own supply. I was selling, but I'm also taking. So now I take it, and they chase me, but they could not get me because I knew Kangemi very well. So when I entered, now I'm heading home, and then they see me coming from Odero when they are finished. I hear the brakes and they come. So I go in Kabete, Mountain View, opposite there is a dam. So I was going to jump there, and then I find people that were fetching water, and they had muizi, so they tripped me. I fell down, and they really beat me up. Before them, matatu drivers and the police could come, that were coming from Kabete, going patrol to Kangemi. They had done a thorough job because my nose was open, it was gushing blood. They were beating me with everything: bow, chuma, boots, kicks. It was a mob justice. They had also brought tire, and they had brought petrol, and again I missed it out. And I always say it is because of the purpose of God. Otherwise, I would not have been here in open talk.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Well, that's quite a story.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there is much more. But I think we'll take a short break.
Yes.
And then we will come back because we want to find out then what happened.
Yes.
How did you go to London? How did you ever go to church, or how did you start going to church? We will look at that. But we want to go for a short break, and then we'll come back and we'll move on with that. Viewers, let's go for a short break. We'll be back. Every Thursday, 8:15 is our communion night. This communion is international. It's for everybody. Everybody is so excited. We are so excited about Thursday night when the church gangs up and is united together. People from different denominations, people from different backgrounds, we partake of the communion together. Because instead of you going out there for the communion, the communion comes to you where you are. So please remember that. Well, welcome back, viewers. We are hosting Pastor Chris Chege from the Fire Kingdom Church.
Yes.
Where is your church situated?
Our church is in Parliament Road in CBD, Nairobi.
On CBD Parliament Road.
Yes.
So we are actually neighbors.
Yes.
We control the city center.
Yes.
It's a great place to be. It's a great place to be.
Yeah.
Viewers, we are with Pastor Chris Chege. And he is just giving us his life before he ever met Christ. And we stopped at where now he's gone, he's been beaten by the mob, the nose is open, the tooth is lost. And what happened after that?
I went home, and my mother could not recognize me because I was beaten properly. She gave me money. She said she doesn't want to see me. She told me, take money, this 500, she'll go to the clinic. They look after you. So I never went to the clinic. 500 was good money. There you have Mira, you have Bangi, you have money to go reggae. So what I did the following day, now I got up, and I remember I had a Crest bottle and Mira, and with my friend now, and we had Mira, and we had taken Bang, and we had taken some ecstasy, tap. And we find this man, a friend of my sister, who was in Standard 8. He wanted to rape her. And this guy was in the army. So now when we found him, we started to beat him, and I broke the glass, and I started writing on his face.
Wow.
And now this my friend had taken a 9x9 stone to hit him while he was on the floor. Then my sister slapped me, and I was sober for a minute, and I took the stone away. But the next day, 2 Land Rovers of army people came. So now I moved to Kawangware to hide there when I was told they have come to Kangemi searching for me. When I went to Kawangware, now my face is so swollen, they were calling me Beauty and the Beast. I went to this party which was tags. There was concussions of Mitinidawa, Busa, Sogam, Muratina, all of it together, and Changa. And it was just tags in that party. And the shoes that were stolen, high-tech shoes. A girl who had been sent by the brothers from America. They went. So who was the suspect? It was just me. I looked like a suspect. If you just met me, you knew this guy was not good. My face was not the way I look at all. Even some people cannot recognize me. So now I was taken to the chief. In the chief place, I was able to run. I went to the city center in CBD. Now I am like a demon possessed. When I come to Nairobi, I'm thieving and tagging wallets, watches, anything I get, handbags. And if you refuse, I put a 14-inch blade on your behind. And when you do that and it touches the artery, now you'll be limping for the rest of your life. So now in CBD, because I went to where senior chief, the teacher that caused me to be expelled, I went to get him in a KICC music festival, and I really beat him up, and I was doing things in city center, 3 of us with my 2 friends. So then I had to run away because they are looking for me in Kangemi, Kawangware, and now city center. I went to Karen. Karen, I find they leave bicycles outside and go into the house. I have never seen that. It was like a hot cake. And now I start taking these bicycles, 2 of them, every day to Machakos. I sell them 3,000 each, mountain bike. And they were very good condition. And there was no matatu I was paying in Nairobi. It was sorry. Even if you looked at me, you will not even ask me for money. The face itself, the eyes, everything, I was demon. It was like a demon possessed person. So now I come from Karen. Now they are looking for me in Karen. My mother now says we moved to Kengero. So Kengero, now there I stopped this small thieving, and I was starting to have friends who are from Mwemuto, Gashie, Cuba, and Wangige. And there were thugs who were thieves, robbers that were stealing banks. So now I was moving with people who were carrying guns. And now they were trying to raise me to become a runaway driver because they thought I was young, I can drive, and I'm quick. So now that is what I was being groomed. So by the grace of God, I was able to finish Form 4, and my mom took me before I started my first mission of bank robbery.
So all this time you are still in school?
I'm still in school. Sometimes my teachers will come from school and I've run away. You know the way in a matatu you say, come, you're pangering people in the evening, rush hour. So you're telling car square. So you put somebody in the back then. You put them in between the seats, and then everybody you're bringing them behind and squeeze them back. So sometimes I will get the teacher, kuja hapa mama, and then I realize it's my teacher. so that was the life I was living. I would do that, and then sometimes also when you are in the matatu in the evening, when the watch is there, I would steal. I used to love watches. Even now I would steal watches, I would steal handbags, wallets, and if somebody doesn't release it, I would stab them. Because I was demon possessed. I had no mercy at all, and I was angry. I don't know, there was an anger in me because my father walked out. So I was able to do my Form 4 exams. Then the following day I was taken on the plane and I went to London.
Now, yeah, that's something that's something I would like to know. How did you get into London? And who put you in a plane? How was this arranged? How was there's got to be a passport?
Yeah.
I know in those days you didn't need. I don't know whether you still needed a visa.
You didn't need a visa.
You didn't need a visa to go to the UK. You just walked in as long as you are Kenyan.
Yeah.
So how did this come about?
There was an uncle of mine who was living in London, so he was able to put his account for me to go, be based on his account. He had a good account.
Okay.
So because he was a businessman going to London and back. So he helped me there, and then my mom with the little she had, and then also she called for Harambe. And
what made your mom think of taking you to London?
Because now she was told by a guy who was a CID, they used to drink together, and said, this is your son, you better take him out of Kenya. We have been given the orders to bring him down. Because now I was becoming stubborn, and I was becoming a nuisance. Because I would steal, I would rob people, stab people. I was doing things, but I wasn't caught yet. They knew it was me. And I remember when Mr. Shaw, who was, they used to call them not field marshal, but they were licensed to bring down thugs. So when Mr. Shaw died, the one that came after him was an Asian. And I remember he found me on a bus stop where we were seated there smoking. And he told me, Chege, Chris Chege, go home, go to your mother. And he said, I see you again, I am going to bring you down. He gave me a warning. That's how I knew that I had gone to a place where I had really gone too far. Yeah.
So had you started on bank stealing, robbing banks at that time?
Before I did my first mission, that's when I did my exams, then I went.
Oh.
Yes.
So you went to the UK?
Yes, and this CID knew what people I was working with now. They knew what I was going into now. Okay. So he knew now they had been given order, this one we need to take him out. Yeah.
So now you have boarded a plane?
Yes.
You are in the UK?
Yes.
So what happens in the UK?
I land in UK. I'm 18 years old, so I live with my auntie, and my language was very bad. I was having that language of the street. So I cannot even say the words. Everything will have something, a dog in there, you know, there will be swearing. So I didn't know how to talk nice. That was my language. So I spoke something to my cousin, and then my auntie said, no, you have to come out of this house. So now I was washing plates in an Asian restaurant, and I remember at one stage before I was able to settle, I slept 2 weeks in a railway station.
Wow.
In Ilford, East London. Yeah. So I was washing this place, and I remember this woman came. The daughter had been married to a Pakistani. She was Indian that had come from Kenya in 1966 and settled there. And I remember the son, this son-in-law, the Pakistani, wanted papers. When he got papers, started mistreating the daughter. So he said, can you be able to do a job for me? Kill this guy for me. And I said, very well. Give us 5,000 now and 5,000 after. But something just came to me and said, 5,000 is not what a human being's life. But I was looking at, if I have 1 million Kenya shillings and I do with these other 4 boys, I can just jump them and go back to Kenya, because I loved Kenya. Yeah, so that is the life I was doing, washing plates, doing work with the agencies, and you could be given any job to work in factories, sausage factories, or even in mortuary. So I always say today when I'm testifying, I used to work in a mortuary. God promoted me. I worked in a butchery. sanctuary, and now I work in a sanctuary. Yeah.
that is quite something.
Yeah.
You know, I've been thinking I was bad. I never got that far. Never got that far. You know, I remember when you were talking about receiving 2
Yes.
every day. And I said, well, it was not only me, but I was not receiving 2.
Yes.
Me, I would receive 6.
Wow.
But not every day.
Yes.
Not every day. Every Monday. And this is I'm in Form 4.
Wow.
Form 4. But every Monday I had to report to the headmaster's office whether I had been committed an offense or not. And say, Kubai, come into my office. And I would go to to his office and stand outside there with a smile. He would come and say, come in and I give you 6. I said, so what have I done this time? You stop asking questions. Come in. You touch your toes. And I would touch my toes. Or at times I would just stand and just put my hands there and look at the headmaster and the way and he would put all the strength, the pop, and he would hit me and it is as if nothing has happened.
Yes.
And he would just whip and give me 6, and then I would tell, thank you very much, sir, and I would run back to class. And I knew next Monday I would be back. But now this makes me an amateur. Me, I was just an amateur. But this is just to show the grace of God.
Yes.
What the grace of God can do. So how long did you stay in London, and when did you ever get to church? Or where did you get the church thing?
I remember when I was in Kenya, my mom, if she wasn't hungover on a Sunday, would go to City Hall, or we'll go to Shan Cinema, Murima, City Hall, Gitonga, you know, whenever. But now, me being the firstborn, I missed out on this brigade, Keravi. There was none, all those things. But my sister did. But for me, I missed out on all those things. So I wasn't baptized, I wasn't in church, because now I was the firstborn, I was the tester of the water. So I missed out on all those. So there was no church in me. So when I'm going to UK, there is no church in me. So I went there in 95, December, after when I just finished my exams. And then I stayed there till 97, April. And it was very hard because I had 1 year visa, it expired. So now I had to depend on people. Sometimes these agencies, I don't have papers. You find somebody who give me to use their papers. And I remember reporting to an agency for a job. And they called, Ann Waiderero, and I said, that is me. And they said, Ann. And I said, in my country, even Ann is a man. And I was given the job. You had to be aggressive. And so doing all those jobs, sometimes you don't have the jobs because sometimes you get, sometimes, and then I'm smoking, I'll take some cigarettes on the floor to make even my cannabis. Sometimes when you eat black coffee without sugar and milk, you know, and rice, you are well. Just then when you have this can of baked beans and sausage inside, it was like Christmas. So it was a very hard time. And then I had an opportunity to go to Ireland. I was told there is greener pasture. So I went there in 97. Yeah,
all on your own?
All on my own. But there was some guys from coast of Kenya. They had gone there and they told me it's good there. So I went there because I didn't have papers, couldn't get or secure a good job. So I went there, stayed 2 years, I got my papers. But now, before I could get my papers and do a good job, I was also doing the drug dealing and also sometimes selling alcohol. So my place was the place people would come and drink. It was just a drinking den. And this time I have my Rastas. I am now going into the faith of Rastafarianism. Because every human being, Bishop, is always looking for a source.
Yeah.
Some find it in witchcraft, some find it in Islam, and I actually tried Islam when I was inside the cell. Because I didn't see Christians praying, but the Muslim, they would start praying. So I said, let me try this. So I had even gone into Islam. And now I started trying Rastafarianism. Because sometimes you are always looking for a source, you are empty. You want something that that can give you satisfaction. Because with all these drugs and all these women, because I was only not doing drugs, I was also doing this. When I started at 11, the womanizing was still there. And up to before I got born again, I had slept with around, if not more than 300 women.
300
Yes.
women.
It was like a demon. I would just stay like this, minding my own business. I just look at a girl, she comes. So it was something, and when in Ireland I got my papers, became a bus driver. Sometimes now with the bus driver and being a black man, I was even on the Irish Independent paper as the first black man to drive a bus in Ireland. So now all these other African girls, they'll see me come, all these coming from Scandinavia and Balkan, Russia and all those countries. They'll see this guy has a good job and papers. So they will want to be with me because if you marry them, they could get the papers. So now I will take advantage. Even on the buses where you put mizigos in the terminus, it was like a demon bishop. When I had no respect for women. When I see them as a sexual symbol. Just a carpet, a mat, I can just wipe out my dust on. So I got my papers. I lost my job in the bus after 3 years in the job because they used to started testing people cannabis, and that time now I was doing even cocaine. So I tested positive for cannabis, cocaine and alcohol. I'll come from 6 a.m. from a nightclub and drive a bus with children going to school and people going to work. So I always say, I met the God, the love of God before I met the God of love. Because all this time, he was just protecting me so that I don't die or end up in prison for life. So now I was chased out, I lost the job, I was driving taxis. And now taxis, I would even make £500, which is about 70,000 shillings, and I would drink all of it in that night. I could even take 10 Guinness and go back to work. So it was alcoholic. When I don't have it, I am shaking. And in Ireland, they say the Irish are the biggest drinkers in the world. And in the 7 in the morning, there is bars called Alley House. You find me there, shaking. And when I take 2 Guinness, I stop shaking. Now I start drinking. And I could drink and hold the drink because the devil, the devil will lie to you. Because I remember there was a time I tried it when I was born again, and I will come to that when I backslid. I tried 2. I was very drunk. Yeah.
So how did you end up getting born again? Now
all these things I am doing, I have money, I even buy a house.
Oh, you bought a house?
I bought a house because I always said we lived in a house of wood and in the ghetto. I always desired to have my own house, which was made of stone. It was my dream.
This was yes, in Ireland?
In Ireland. So when I was in the bus company, I was able to secure a mortgage, bought a house. And then now in this time, I will get people, if people have a relative, a sister that wanted to come to Ireland, I'll pick them with my taxi. They'll come and live in my house for 2 weeks, become my wife, wash my clothes, cook for me. And then I write them the story to go and get the papers. So that's how they got to 300 or more. They were coming to my house.
Oh.
Yes. So this house was like, and then I brought my mom. We were living with her.
Okay.
I brought her, and then I'll drop her in this church. And then she was born again now when she came from Kenya. I'll drop her to church, and then I'll go and do taxi, pick her up, going back. So now she will tell me, "What? Come to church." I will say, "No, I'll watch the God channel." So the conviction was there, and I knew I wanted something greater, but I did not know how to do it. But I remember going to London, and a pastor friend of mine, we were in drugs. Was getting married and got born again. So I went to that wedding, and I remember got arrested in a nightclub. And before I went to this wedding, I had been in the cell 26 hours. And in this cell, I was thinking, I am now 28. I am getting old, and now in a cell. What kind of life am I living? Don't have a wife, don't have children, don't have even a purpose where I'm going to. I really thought so much, and I went to this wedding, saw how he had been transformed, and I wanted a change. So when I came back from London, the wedding, back to Ireland, I met this girl. And this girl, she was the first girl to tell me no. I had never been told. I had a good sports car, I have a house, I have papers, nice dreadlocks, I was looking the part. So no woman was saying no to me. I would have any woman I wanted. So she was the first one to tell me no. And she told me, Psalms 37:4, delight in the Lord and he shall give you the desires of your heart. And this was when I was having a party to open this house. So she comes, and she had been deported from London to Ireland. They went to take him, and the authorities of Kenya refused her because she did not have any Kenyan identity. So she was taken to Ireland, and then where she went to stay with some family friends, they said, we cannot leave you in the house alone. We are going to a party. And this party, we cannot leave you because you look suicidal. She was now born again 1 year, and she had been put in a detention for 1 month before being deported to Ireland. So when they come to her to the party, she comes in my house. And there, she was the first woman to tell me no. This was the woman now who come to become my wife.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you met with your wife in Ireland.
In Ireland, in my house.
And she was already born again.
She was already born again one year.
Did you get born again on that day, or?
I did not get born again. I wanted her. I would write some mysteries to her, tell her, hey baby, what's up? I would text her and everything. She would tell me, delight in the Lord, shall give you the desires of your heart. You know, in this party, I was trying everything. And she was telling me I would go out and start smoking a big spliff, cannabis, come back and change my mustaris, my try again. But she said no. And then when in the morning she was about to go, and somehow we talked and we were connecting. She wanted to do this in future, children's home and this, that, and that. We were saying, oh. And then she was from Umoja, born in Umoja as well. And we were asking ourselves, what is your father's name? So that you couldn't be from the other family of my father. Because everything was similar. Umoja, then they were taken to Kiserian also. And the father had another woman in the city.
Oh.
Yes. And she had also been in senior chief. So much similarity was there. But we had never met until that day. So she was the first woman to tell me no. So she goes to where she was taken by the government in this place where you stay till you get your papers. She was 4 hours away. So we would talk on the phone, text. She would tell me, send me verses. And I started learning verses. The Psalms, Proverbs, because even as a Rastaman, one of the things we meditate on is the Psalms, Proverbs, and the book of Negas. Yes. And of course the words of Marcus Garvey and the rest of them, like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. So now I began to know the word. So one time she came to Dublin and told me that I want to take you to I wanted to take her to a movie. She gave me Passion of Christ. This was in 2004. And this Passion of Christ, I looked at it and I sobbed. I was broken. And I was saying, you mean a man like this died on the cross because of me? And the way I've been doing bad things, stabbing people. There was a flashback going all the years, the things I'd done, drugs, wasting people's life, doing things. And it broke me. So this time I took my mother to church. In 27th of October 2004 at 1 p.m. They called for altar call, nobody got up. I had a voice telling me, go. And I went, gave my life to Christ, and I was filled with the Holy Spirit in the same service. Wow. And I surrendered. And it wasn't easy. I did not stop everything there. It was another journey. Oh. Yes.
But now you have given your life to Jesus.
I've given my life to Jesus. And when my wife, that time she was not my wife, she came in the house. Even when I was drunk, something told me, this is your wife. And I even told her. I even announced there was a DJ microphone and the mic's PA system. And I said, hey, maze, God amenibless na keja. Na sahi ameniletea wife. So I was saying, I have a house and now the wife has been brought. And I was not, my mental was not in that capacity. I was thinking of being 50, get a 20-year-old, that will have dreadlocks, have some Rasta babies, go somewhere in Mombasa, have a dinghy and a small hut where I can bring some fish and cannabis we eat and just have some smoke and have a life going. That was my mind. It was a micro thought thinking. Yeah, I had bad imagination, bad thoughts. Yeah. My vision was very small.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, now you're born again.
Yes.
And you started going to church.
Yes.
And that is in Ireland.
Yes.
Okay. And she's going in the same church?
No, she's not going the same church.
Oh, because she was 4 hours.
Yes.
4 hours
yes.
away. Okay.
So even she had I got born again. Some people were saying I got born again because of her. And then I remember I was driving the taxi, and this Friday I started about 2 p.m. and 8 o'clock in the morning the next day I was still driving, one to Monday. So I crashed into a car with a Nissan Primera that had no airbags, and I broke my hand and I was in a coma. So she was told, and she came. And this time she was a prayerful woman, and she started being shown by God, me preaching to thousands with a suit, without the dreads and everything. And but she never told me anything about being my wife or me being her husband. But when she was told that I have been in an accident, I'm in a coma, she came, got there even before my mom, told everybody there, if you don't have faith, get out. And she started crying and saying, God, now you have showed me this is my husband. I'm now trying to start to love him, and now you want to take him. Who tells you that somebody in a coma doesn't hear? I heard that she loves me. I got out of the coma, Bishop. Immediately.
Wow.
I knew now, there was no courting or, she had said that I am the husband. And now when I got up, she couldn't even hide. So I got out the same day with a cast in my hand, and she had to drive me. So she,
you know what, you know what I'm thinking,
yes.
viewers.
Yeah.
We will not continue with this program until she comes. I am putting a protest. We will not continue with this program until you bring her. Then we can pick the story from, and we can pick the story from there.
Okay.
But I'm so glad.
Yes.
I'm so glad that we have come to a point
yes.
where you have given your life to Jesus.
Yes.
And now you know this girl is my wife. You have had her from a coma.
Yes.
From a coma, you have had her say,
yes.
I love him, and now you want to take
yes.
to take him from me, and now your life is rejuvenated.
Yes.
I think what we will do, because of our timing, we will post there, and then we will plan this coming week. We show that she is also in the program,
yes.
and then we can move into together.
Okay.
I think that will be very good.
Yes.
Viewers, I hope you have received something about the working of God. I want you to know that God has you at heart. He has you at heart. And it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter where you hide, it doesn't matter how far you go, He will get you. And God has different ways of getting. I never ever knew that one in a coma hears. But I said, but now it's confidence. You see. Now what comes into my mind is I had a brother who was older than me, who I followed.
Okay.
I followed, and then he just got suddenly sick. Suddenly sick. We were together one day. The following day, I'm told he is in Kenyatta, unconscious. I was living in Mombasa.
Yes.
So I took a bus and went to Kenyatta, and I found him sleeping on the bed. Nobody attending to him. I can't talk to him. But I went to talk to his ears, and I talked to him. And I prayed for him. I prayed for salvation because I knew he was a backslider. I prayed for his salvation. I prayed for him. I talked to him. Now you are telling me he heard what I was praying. For me, that is a big encouragement.
Yes.
You heard about love.
Yes.
Everybody hears whatever they are hearing. But I'm so glad. Now, viewers, you are in for a cool time. In the next program, we're going to bring in Joanne, and Joanne will tell us how she knew that this is the man, even in her praying. And now the man is born again. He's no longer fighting. He's no longer all that, but he's born again. And we will continue from there. I want to say thank you so very much. May the Lord richly bless you for tonight. We will continue this coming Wednesday.
Yes.
God bless you. Thank you, viewers. Have a good night. Enjoy yourselves. This is Open Talk with Bishop Kariuki, your pastor and your friend for a long time. And your life will never be the same again. May God bless you.